amigos, a gente está aqui com o Douglas, que é o chefe da Juventude da ONU Habitat. Ele vai explicar pra gente o que está rolando na nossa área, na nossa quebrada de juventude, na ONU Habitat e da nova agenda urbana.
Well, we have a big session going on talking about all the different projects we're doing. Youth project in Mogadishu, Somalia, where we're creating safe space for young people. We have youth projects in Kigali, Rwanda, project in Asia. We have lots in Latin America. So we do two things. One hand, we do lots of projects and programs that make getting young people livelihoods, making them healthier, safer. We also, as a UN agency, we're really better at doing the research side. So we report lots of reports like this and such. We do research and policy and trying to change the way people think about cities generally as my agency, but youth more specifically. I mean, young people are often seen very negatively. They're often seen as not positive change agents. They're just seen as protesters or whatever, and we know that young people can affect positive change. So that's what we're there for, affecting positive change.
Mas afinal, para que serve a Habitat 3? Essa conferência que está reunindo várias pessoas do mundo todo, organizações, prefeitos. Não é uma negociação, não é um plano de ação. Doug, explica pra gente.
I think everyone has a right to be cynical about, we see it globally right now. We have many people who are going to the streets, voting in really strange people because they're very cynical about government and governance and why does this have any impact or any influence on me? I totally agree that it's a challenge. But also we have to look somewhat positively to come together to talk about stuff. We're always looking at, well, what's the law and what's the legal stuff? But in a place like this where we can sit down and say, are cities even valuable? Should we even have them? I mean, and if we do, how can we make them better? And for youth, I mean, as any young person knows, oftentimes they're not respected. They're not respected for being good. They're just respected as being somebody or they're not respected for being the work that they do. There's so many young leaders out there. We don't recognize them for what we do. We often say, oh, they'll be the leaders of the future. You know, they'll happen something. They're just a project. That's not true. I don't think we've reached that point with cities as we did with the environment with Rio Plus 20, where we can start thinking that way. We're still kind of trying to think, okay, are cities a good thing? I think we've kind of figured out that cities can be positive. I mean, if they're done right. You know, if we have proper public transportation or education or, safe spaces for young people too. So I think this is a first step. And I realize, for many activists and other people would say, well, why don't we have this binding? I just think it's incredibly complex and complicated. So maybe next 20 years from now, we'll have it as a binding resolution. But right now, I think it's really valuable. And I think if you look at the number of mayors and the number of young people, this event here it's not that we know all the young people here. They just come and they're here and they're like, okay, well, let's talk about it. So this is less, so it's not Rio Plus 20, not what happened in Rio. But nonetheless, I think it's a good first step.
Keep on keeping on.